It's time to make it, just give it a try. 'Cause you can make it like the old fat guy.
Welcome to this episode of You Can Make It with David Farrell. I'm the old fat guy. Today I'm going to show you how to do something I really love, and that is fried chicken. The reason for the quotation marks on fried chicken is we're not going to cook it in fat. We're going to cook it in an oven or in a smoker at 400 degrees, which is a lot healthier. And I find cooking in fat really messy. It splatters everywhere. I think it's dangerous. So this is going to be an oven fried chicken recipe that you can also do in your smoker. Now, you can go out and buy a tray of cut up chicken parts, like all thighs or thighs and breasts, or even a mixture of all of it, just a chicken cut up, and make this recipe. You'll need 2.5 to 3 pounds of chicken. But I find it a little bit cheaper if you buy a whole chicken and cut it up yourself. So to start off the video, I'm going to show you how to cut up a chicken for yourself and maybe save a little bit of money. So what we have here is about a 3-pound chicken. 2.5 to 3 pounds is perfect. And here's the breast side with the drumstick sticking up and the wings underneath. You want to flip it over so that the backbone is sticking up, and you want to get a pair of good poultry shears. And you want to cut down both sides of that spine. There you go. And down the other side. Now, this spine isn't going to be cooked with the chicken, but save it for when you make some chicken stock. Chicken stock is great. You just don't want to waste anything. So we're going to save that spine. I'm going to put it in the fridge until I collect enough chicken trimmings that I can make chicken stock. So now we've taken the spine out of the bird. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut the drumsticks off. So turn it back up, breast side, and you can feel that there's a joint right there. Just rub your finger over it and you can feel it. When you find it, just stick the point of your knife in and then cut through. There you go, you've cut a drumstick off. Now, we're going to do the same thing with the other drumstick. Find that joint and just cut through it. The next pieces we're going to take off of the chicken are these thigh pieces. And you see there's a natural line that runs between the thigh and the breast. Just put your knife down that natural line and cut through it. And you've got one. And then 2 chicken thighs. It's really simple. It has to be simple because I do it. So now that you've got your chicken thighs off, the next thing we're going to take off are the wings. Now, just like with the drumstick, you can feel that there's a joint right there. So just stick your knife in that joint and then cut through it. One wing. And we'll find the joint. There it is, right there. And we'll cut through it. That one's being a little sticky, but we'll just work our way. That's because I cut outside of it. There we go. And there's 2 wings. Now, what you want to do is cut this chicken breast in half. So just put it on that spine bone with a good heavy knife and push down through it, and you'll cut it into 2 breast halves. Now, those are pretty big pieces of chicken, so I like to cut them in half too. Just again, slice through the skin with a good heavy knife and guillotine down on it. And there's 2 breast pieces. And we'll do 2 more breast pieces. There we go. And you can see how easy it is to save yourself a bit of money and end up with 10 nicely cut pieces of chicken. And it's as good as anything the butcher in the store will do. So next time you want to save some money, cut up your own chicken. Now just give me a minute and I'm going to clean up the station, because chicken has a lot of possibility of salmonella and other bacteria in it. So when you finish doing anything with chicken, clean up really well afterwards, wash your hands, clean all the equipment. Which brings me to an historic point. Did you know that Beethoven hated chicken? And the reason was, whenever they spoke, all they said was bok, 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 bok. Don't hate me. I'll see you in a minute. So now you've got your chicken cut up into pieces, or you bought 1.2 to 1.5 kilogram, or about 2.5 to 3 pounds of chicken. Now, the way I make my chicken when I do an oven fried is I do what I call a double dip. So I call this double D fried chicken. Because you can make fried chicken just by putting it in a liquid and then tossing it in a seasoned flour and then cooking it at high heat. And it's good. But if you dip it twice, it's a little messier, but you get a skin on it that is so crunchy it's just unbelievable. So we're going to make double D fried chicken, or double dipped. So the first thing we have to do is to make a marinade for the chicken. Now the classic marinade for fried chicken is buttermilk. I'm going to use regular milk, but I'm going to be putting a hot sauce in it, which makes it curdle a bit, which makes it very similar to buttermilk. If you want to use buttermilk, go ahead. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 500 milliliters or 2 cups of cold milk in a large container. You want it to be non-reactive, which means plastic, glass, stainless steel, but not iron or aluminum or anything like that. And then we're going to add 25 milliliters or 2 tablespoons of your favorite buffalo sauce or sriracha, but just add that to the milk. And then we're going to add 10 milliliters or 2 teaspoons of sugar and 10 milliliters or 2 teaspoons of salt. That just helps get the marinade to go into the chicken and gives it a little bit more flavor. Then we're going to add 1 egg. And when we've got it all in the bowl, we're just going to whisk it up. Try not to splash like I did. I'm trying to hold this up so you can see what I'm doing in the bowl. And once it's all mixed together, you just have to put the chicken into the marinade. Now you'll note I'm not putting the back in. That's going to go in the freezer for later stock. We'll just push it all down in the liquid. Now that's going to go into the fridge and marinate for 3 hours. I like to cover it just so nothing falls in it. And I'll see you back in 3 hours when we start to double dip our chicken. I'll see you then. So the chicken is marinated in the milk mixture for about 3 hours, and I turned the chicken around a few times to make sure it was mixed well and all got a good coating of the marinade. Now we're going to make up our flour dredge for our double dip chicken. And what I have here is 350 milliliters, or a little over 1.5 cups of just plain all-purpose flour that I'm going to put in a low casserole. And then to that, I'm going to add some seasonings. Now, you want 10 milliliters or 2 teaspoons of your favorite barbecue rub. I have some on my blog if you'd like to have a look at it. The address is at the end of the video. Or buy any commercial barbecue rub that you like. But it gives you the opportunity to make it sweet or spicy or whatever, depending on the rub you put in. So I have 10 milliliters or 2 teaspoons of the rub. I have 6 milliliters or 1.25 teaspoon of salt, 6 milliliters or 1.25 teaspoons of onion powder, and 6 milliliters and 1.25 teaspoon of garlic powder. So I'm just going to push all of those into the flour. And we want to mix that up well. Make sure you get it all the corners. Get it all really well mixed. There we go. So now that we've got our dredging mix made, we're going to dip the chicken in the dredging mix. Now the secret of doing this is the only part that touched the wet chicken is my left hand, and the only part that's going to touch the dry chicken is my right hand. So we take a piece of chicken and you just want to pull it out and let most of the liquid drip off, but not all. And then you're going to put it on top of the flour and get your left hand away from it and shovel over the chicken some of the flour dredge with your right hand. Remember, you want to keep your right hand dry, and then we're just going to take that and put it in a single layer on a plate. So we're going to take our second piece of chicken, shake off the excess liquid, put it on the flour, and push dredge over it. Just like that. And then we're going to put that on the plate. We're going to do that with all the pieces of chicken and put them on these plates in one layer. You don't want to stack them up. Now that the chicken is all got a dip through the flour, we remember that it's double D chicken, double dip. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift everything just a bit this way, and we're going to take the chicken and pull it over here, move that over a bit, and this chicken over, and have some new clean plates. And we're going to give it the double dip. So we're going to take the chicken and we're going to, with the wet hand, put it back in the dip, put it on the flour, use the dry hand to put a second layer of flour over it, and put it in a single layer on a plate. Double dip, put it in the flour with the wet hand, shovel it over with the dry hand, and we're going to continue doing that for all the pieces of chicken. And the last piece. And we're going to let this chicken sit in one layer like that with the second dipping on it for 15 minutes to give it a chance for the coating to really set on it. I'll see you in about 15 minutes out at my smoker because I'm doing this batch in my smoker. I let the chicken sit for 15 minutes so the coating will get well set on the skin, and I've preheated my smoker to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I will tell you that this works very well in an oven as well. Just take a tray, put a rack over it, and put the chicken on the rack and put it in a 400-degree oven. Everything else is exactly the same. So let's load up the smoker with the chicken. You'll notice I'm putting the chicken in skin side up. That's very important. You don't want it down or you won't get the good golden skin that you want. So we've got the chicken on at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to let it sit for 35 minutes now just to set the flour and the coating on it, and then we're going to give it a brush oil. So I'll see you in 35 minutes. So now the chicken is cooked for 35 minutes, and what we want to do is give it a brush with oil. You know that everything's going well when you see just that little bit of golden around the edge. So what we'll do is we'll just brush some vegetable oil over each of the pieces of chicken. Now I want you to notice that I am not turning the chicken. That's because I left the skin on the chicken, so there's a fair amount of fat that will go down and take care of the oil on the underside of the chicken. So just brush each piece of chicken on the top, don't turn it, and then we're going to let it cook for 30 minutes and check it again. So at about 25 or 30 minutes, you want to check and see if the chicken is looking nice and golden brown like this is. And then you want to test it with an instant meat thermometer in the thickest part of it to make sure it's over 170. I'm going to be honest, I've never had it not be well over 170, but it's just a safety thing. So now that it's golden brown and we know it's safe, we're going to take it off and take the chicken inside. So I brought the chicken in, and it looks gorgeous. It's got a nice golden crust on it. You can hear it click as you hit it because it's so crunchy. So what is better than making a double dip fried chicken except trying a double dip fried chicken? So let's just take a bite. The skin is actually not just crisp, it's crunchy. There's a wonderful blend of seasonings from the coating. This is as good a quotation mark fried, end of quotation mark, chicken as you're ever going to find, and the best part is you can make it.
I have a good woman, I ain't good looking, but I do some cooking. I'm the old fat guy. So use that oven if you want some lovin'. Be like the old fat guy. Be like the old fat guy.